Hello and welcome back to Tachikawa. My name is Matthew Boynton. Daniel Bellamy, I think we'd both agree that I am a bold and fearless truth teller, wouldn't we?
Yeah, that's when I mention you to other people and they're like, Matthew who? And I say, the bold and fearless truth teller. They're like, oh yeah, that
Good.
guy.
I'm glad that we're all in such agreement here. So this is why it's so outrageous that I am being silenced in this way.
Oh no. Are you being cancelled?
I'm being silenced.
Okay.
On my own podcast.
Wait, what?
In last week's episode, as you know,
Yep.
let's take a moment, actually, before we do this, to address the elephant in the room. That sound you can hear in the background is not either of us farting. It is one of the fermenters in the brewery, which has just popped off and has started shooting CO2 out. Very vigorous fermentation. That is probably going to be happening throughout the episode. Apologies for that. Anyway, I think it's outrageous that I'm being silenced this way on my own podcast.
Okay. What's happening? How is this? You edit the thing.
Details.
Okay.
Anyway, on last week's pod, as you know, we actually had quite a delicious bag of crisps in here for the recording that we were munching on throughout the record. And entirely deliberately, I decided to leave in 20 seconds of me eating some crisps while you popped out to go to the toilet.
Okay.
And since we released that episode, that 20 seconds of ASMR crisp eating has been edited out.
Unbelievable.
I'm being silenced.
Yeah.
And that's why...
Not your words so much, but your actions.
My crisp eating is being silenced. And that's why I'd like everyone to look forward to my upcoming interview in the New York Times, my 2-hour Netflix special, and the 4-hour hagiography that will be playing on Fox News, Silenced by Matthew Boynton.
It's just going to be like 2 hours of ASMR, you eating chips.
Yes, crisps.
Okay.
That's right. And then another 2 hours of me airing the grievances about how nobody wants to listen to me eating these crisps.
Man, that's going to be, great, I guess.
Yeah, let's say great. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a thing.
How are you today?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I suffered from one of the daily struggles that is life in this bar today.
All right.
I don't know if you're going to feel me on this. I'm sure you are. This is something we share between us. We don't do a lot of food in here. We do one food thing.
Nuts.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's a thing of mixed nuts. It comes in a big kind of tub type shaped thing. It's pretty good set of mixed nuts. My one priority for mixed nuts is it doesn't have giant corn in it because A, not a nut. B, is fucking terrible. These
also,
don't have
no peanuts, I would say.
No peanuts. Yeah,
nuts.
Peanuts are definitely filler in a lot of these. This is some premium quality stuff. What's in there?
Brazil nuts, macadamia nuts, walnuts.
Yeah,
these are high. There's
no
premium.
walnuts in there.
Yeah, there are.
No, there aren't.
Let me get some of these. Let me get a hold of some of these nuts.
Yeah.
Maybe there are walnuts or nuts. I don't know. I've definitely eaten some walnuts.
Not out of there, but anyway.
I'm being silenced again.
There's almonds in there.
Yes.
Everything else has some kind of shape or bulk to it, right? There's cashews in there, Almonds, by their nature, they're kind of ballistic, for lack of a better term. My issue is that out of all the mixed nuts, I think that due to their shape, the almonds find their way towards the bottom.
Right.
And sometimes when you are serving your nuts off the top of the tub, it's full of, in my opinion, I like cashews and things like that. There's a load of cashews,
primo nuts.
Premium nuts.
It's all the primo nuts at the top.
And then when you get down to the bottom, somebody orders a dish of your nuts. They want to get a handle on your nuts.
Yep.
And you just hand them a big bowl of almonds because of the way they filter through the dish. Now, last week I had concerns about bicycles on the sidewalk and people getting run over and murdered or maimed or whatever. This week I have concerns about serving someone a dish of almonds and them coming over the counter and causing me physical harm. So, understanding what you know about the ballistic nature of almonds and how they're interacting with the other nuts in this thing, no walnuts, I might add, do you have a solution to this problem?
So let me just restate the issue here to fill out some time on the podcast.
Right.
You're saying that the almonds all kind of slip through to the bottom of the tub.
Yeah, because of the shape.
but the premium nuts are at the top.
Well, cashews don't. They're hook-shaped, right? They're just going to hook onto things.
Right.
They're not going to
The
slip
Brazil
through
nuts
anywhere.
are pretty big.
They're
as
big,
well.
yeah. I don't know how the macadamia nuts do it. Maybe they're lighter. They're less dense.
When it comes to nuts, are you a top or a bottom?
Yeah, I'm clearly a top nut. It's cashew. I mean, I'm a cashew guy. It's cashews on top. They don't go anywhere, right?
Now, one thing that you can do, which is why... So when one tub of nuts is running low, there he goes again, the tank, I will open another tub of nuts and then shake the almonds onto the top of the next tub.
Okay.
Therefore, sort of distributing those almonds over the top of the new tub of nuts, and then you get a better mix that way.
Okay.
Although you are introducing more almonds into that tub at that point.
That's true, yeah.
So at some point we're going to get to the bottom of the tub, it'll just be all almonds.
Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good.
You got to shake it though, because you want to leave the nut dust behind.
It's all salt, right? If we just pour it all in there, we're just going to be compounding the salt.
Nut dust is really salty.
Nut dust. I'm wondering if we should store the nuts upside down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, upside down nuts.
Yeah.
Do you think that might lead to some kind of torsion or injury when it comes to upside down nuts?
I mean, I imagine Australians have upside down nuts all the time, and they seem fine. They seem pretty laid back people in general.
From their perspective, of course, our nuts are the upside down ones.
That's true.
It's important to
They
see
probably
things
think
from...
that we're backwards.
Yeah, I think what you got to do when you're serving some nuts is just really dig in there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just be skimming off the top when you're dealing with nuts. You have to really get in there,
with gusto.
Dig around, get right down to the bottom, and make sure you're spreading the nuts evenly. The different varieties of nuts throughout it.
Right.
Like nobody wants a dish of just almonds, do they?
Right. No.
This is some kind of almond freak.
I mean, I think I guess the good thing is our customers are nice. Our nuts are good.
Yep.
I don't think anyone has ever complained about our nuts. Everyone seems happy with our nuts
to date, but you never know. Like Japanese customers are very polite, and they might be thinking, "Man, I can't believe these nuts. This is terrible.
Right.
They're serving these nuts to me, and they expect me to eat these nuts. This is right. They're thinking it on the inside, but they're not going to vocalize it, right?
You're right.
Because their mouth's full. Anyway, that's my solution. What do you think?
Yeah, that sounds great to me.
I thought we had got all the nut jokes out of our system. We've been serving nuts in here for 3 years.
Slanging them nuts.
And over that time, I think you and I have made every nuts joke that it's possible to make. I thought we had got them all out of our system, but...
These are just repeats, though, aren't they? Right?
It's just,
they never lose their charm.
These nuts are really repeating on us.
We're not here. Anyway, thanks for the help on that.
No, thank you. That was good. It's always good to get the nuts out in the open. We're not just here to talk about nuts, though. Are we? What are we here to do on this podcast?
We are here to celebrate beer.
Excellent. And we have a new beer to celebrate this week. A new original beer. We're keeping up with a streak of just doing our beers, clapping ourselves on the back every week.
Pretty exciting, too. This week we're actually going to drink it.
We're actually going to drink the beer that we are going to celebrate. What is this week's beer?
It is Dialectic Cassis.
Ooh. Everyone will know that this is kind of the fourth in this series that we have made of sour beers using Philly sour yeast and some kind of fruit adjunct as well. A fruit puree, if you will. A phrase which for some reason I find very difficult to say. The first one we did was apricot. The second one was yuzu. The third one was morello cherry. And this time we're doing Cassis. So thank you very much to our friends at Yggdrasil for helping us to make this one. Why don't we just dive straight into it? All right, we're back. I mean this in the best possible way, but this beer, this Dialectic Cassis, reminds me of Student Union drinking Snakebite and Black. Have you ever had a Snakebite and Black?
No.
It's Snakebite, which is half lager and half cider.
Okay.
And then topped off with a little bit of black currant cordial. which is
pretty good.
Not entirely dissimilar to what this beer actually is. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it tastes a lot like Snake Bike and Black.
Yep.
To me as well.
Red Diesel.
Did I say Snake Bike?
Snake Bike and
Snake Bike and Black. It's quite a striking color. I think that the previous iterations in this series the color has been there, but it's been more subdued, a little more washed out. And this one, it's much more strikingly
fuchsia
red. Yeah, it's difficult to pin down. Red and little orangey, little pinky, somewhere in that range. It's striking to the point where we had it on tap tonight, and somebody ordered it, and people came up and asked what it was, and then ordered it themselves. It looks very appealing, I think. You get a huge hit of Cassis on the nose. Like it doesn't hide what it is, and it's not muddied by anything else, I feel like. Sometimes I drink beers like this and you smell it and you go, yeah, I can smell the fruit that's in there and some other things as well. And Sometimes those things are good. Sometimes those things are not so good. But in this case, like, I really just get a big hit of Cassis. And I think, again, previous versions, I might have had a bit of the weedy backbone in the aroma, but not so much in this one, I think. And then, interestingly, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but we're doing a podcast, so let's assume that it's interesting. I poured the first glass out of the keg for myself. And when I drank that one, I didn't think it was very tart or sour at all.
Right.
It was quite fruity and quite light. And I poured a taste for a few customers that were in at the time, and they said the same thing. And then later on, some people started ordering it, and I was talking to another customer, and they were like, yeah, it's quite sour, it's quite tart. Which was interesting to hear because that wasn't my experience. But now that I'm having this taster with a little bit of the keg drawn off, it's much more, I wouldn't go so far as to say sour. I think the whole series has been more tart than sour. But it's much more tart than the first glass that I had. And I like that because I like sour, fruity things. And so when I had the first glass, I was like, this is nice. This is easy drinking. This is probably going to be a good one to go down as the temperature rises. But I like things to be a little more tart and sour, so I'm happy. This is long-winded. I'm often long-winded here, but this is pretty long even for me.
Well, that was good. Similar to another classic Scottish drink, Buckfast. You ever drunk any Buckfast?
I'm actually aging a bottle of Buckfast at my place right now.
What number is printed on the bottle?
I have no idea. Is there a number on the bottle?
So this is possibly an urban myth, but when I was in university and people around me were drinking Buckfast, the theory was that there is a number printed on the bottle, and that is the number in which the bottle has been drawn from the barrel.
Yeah, I've heard this, yeah.
In the abbey, the Buckfast Abbey, right, with all these monks wearing their robes and producing this fine tonic wine in the most traditional of atmospheres. And so the lower the number, the lower down in the barrel it would have been when it was bottled.
Right.
And so the number 1 would be much thicker and sweeter than, say, a number 20.
Is that good? Is that what you want?
Well, what do you want, right?
No.
It comes down to personal preference, possibly. But I remember one of my flatmates at Edinburgh somehow managed to get hold of a number 2 and decided to cellar it for the millennium, right? Oh, we can't just drink this.
No,
this is
pretty
too good.
Special, yeah.
Got to put this to one side and celebrate the millennium with this number 2. I don't think that actually happened. I think it was drunk fairly shortly after that. But yeah, it's possible that something similar might have happened here. We used fruit juice this time rather than fruit puree. Some very fine cassis juice, but quite concentrated juice. And maybe some of the fruit solids or some of the heavier sugars sunk to the bottom of the keg. And we got those right away. So
possibly, yeah.
It could be an interesting one that, depending on where you get the beer from the keg, it might taste very slightly different. More sweet or more tart. I'm getting long-winded now. I will say that you're right, it is tart. It is slightly sour. But more like a fruit juice than one of these kind of slap-in-the-face Gose beers.
For sure.
Or a sour IPA that we've had in here before. I think it's a very pleasant level of acidity, and it makes the beer extra refreshing and matches really well with the Cassis, or the blackcurrant character as well. Is blackcurrant a popular flavor in America?
Yeah, it's around. I mean, I don't think we do a ton with it, but yes, I am aware of it.
See, in the UK, we have this squash cordial called Ribena,
Right, okay.
which is very popular among children. And so I would say every single child in the UK knows what blackcurrants taste like,
Right.
because we all drink Ribena all the
Right,
time.
okay, yeah.
One of those weird things about our culture. I will say that the sourness level in this was quite deliberate. The yeast that we used, interesting yeast called Philly sour yeast, sours the beer for us automatically, and it turns the sugars in the wort into lactic acid during the first 48 to 72 hours of fermentation. And so what we try and do is to control the amount of sugar that is present in the wort right away. So we might mash a little bit higher, slightly higher temperature, and that means there's less available sugar for it to work with. And then we won't add the fruit juice or the fruit puree until after that period is finished, because we want it to ferment that sugar from the fruit juice into alcohol rather than turning it into lactic acid and making the beer even more sour. Really interesting yeast, and I'm glad we've had the chance to work with it. Now, every week when we try one of these beers from the menu, we also like to pair it with something, although of course we can't pair it with the two most recent options, which were
food and TV and movies and drinking companions.
Food, TV and movies and drinking companions. Let's roll the dice and find out what it's going to be this week. Number 8, Wild Card.
Ooh.
Exciting. It feels like we don't get this one very often. So you can pair this beer with quite literally anything. What's it going to be?
I would like to pair this beer with hope.
Okay. Something that's in short measure these days.
Yeah. Maybe in your world.
Can you expand on that at all? Nope.
Yeah, not really. No, that's it. This beer is, it's bright, it's refreshing, it's got a nice bright color to it as well. It makes me feel kind of hopeful in some ways. I get a positive vibe from this beer.
Okay.
Not that other beers aren't positive vibey, but like this one has a tone to it, a color. Like I said, one person ordered it and people saw it and they were inspired. They felt hope.
Right.
And they were like, I got to get me some of that hope and also that beer. And they came up and they were like, what is that? What is this feeling inside of me? There was a ripple that went through the tap room when the first glass went out. So I feel like this beer paired itself with hope. I'm just expressing that.
What are some other things in your life that make you feel hopeful?
Just this beer.
This is it?
Yeah, this is it.
Well, I'm glad that you've got something to cling on to.
Finally.
Yeah, I think I might go in a similar direction to you. People saw it and they were immediately saying, what is this? I need to get in on this. I want to know what this is. We're talking about the beer now, not the nuts. I need to find out what this is and get in on it. And I would like to pair this beer with the Darth Vader corridor scene from the movie Rogue One. Mm-hmm. You ever seen Rogue One?
I have, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's the best Star Wars film, bar none. And it's all really, really good. But then right at the end, Darth Vader just shows up and he massacres a corridor full of people.
Yeah.
And you're watching it going, this is incredible. This is exactly what I wanted. This is, what a way to end a movie as well. Just here's Darth Vader. He's going to show up for a minute of screen time and really leave his mark on it. And everybody who sees that scene says, I need to know more about this.
Right.
I need to find out more about this film and get in on this.
He's not some punk either. He's not there to just threaten. You know, he's no one's lapdog. It's like, I'm here to murder.
Yes.
And you can't stop me.
I will kill all of you.
Yeah.
And also, interestingly, I think the last word of that movie is the word hope. Right? CGI Princess Leia, spoiler alert, is in the cockpit of the ship that escapes. And somebody asks her what was on the card that was worth all those dudes in the corridor dying to Darth Vader for. And she looks at the camera and says, hope. So there you go. It's a very hopeful beer this year.
Right.
This time. Get on it. We only have 150 litres of this, so I hope that you can enjoy this one pretty soon before it's all gone. As I mentioned earlier, this is the kind of the fourth iteration of this series. They haven't all been called Dialectic : fruit name, but it's the fourth version of this recipe that we've done. In the future, are there any other fruits that you would like to make a Philly sour beer out of?
I am a big raspberry guy.
You are a big raspberry guy.
I love raspberries. I would like to do raspberries. That's a pretty easy pull. We've been told, and maybe we've just been straight up lied to, but we've been told that Tachikawa is a big blueberry growing area.
That's true.
I think most of the blueberries, what I heard was most of the blueberries in Japan come from farms around Tachikawa.
Okay.
So that's probably a good local tie-in that we could do. But one that I would like to do, and I'm not totally sure about this because it's not a strong flavor, but I love nashi pears.
Japanese apple pears.
Yeah, I love them. And I would like to do that, but the flavor of nashi is pretty subtle.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if it would have enough to carry. So maybe, I don't know how far down the dialectic road we have to go before we start looking at combos. But like a nashi raspberry would be pretty good, I think. Or nashi blueberry as well. Like a little stronger one to kind of carry, to bring the color, first of all. And bring the flavor that like, oh yeah, I know this flavor. And then have the nashi along for the ride that you can taste when you really delve into it.
Yeah, that does sound pretty good. I think you're right that combos are an interesting way of looking at it. I really like yuzu. I think the yuzu version of this beer that we made together with Virginia Brewing was excellent. How about if we added a little bit of ginger on that yuzu?
Ooh.
Yuzu and
I like
ginger.
yuzu ginger as a combo.
Ginger sour. That could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like a grown-up ginger beer.
Yeah.
Sour, yuzu-y, bit of heat from the ginger as well. That could be pretty fun. There are all kinds of weird berries as well, right? Raspberries. I love raspberries. Really, really delicious. But what about bilberries or loganberries?
Yeah.
Right? There are all these other berries out there in the world. I think that the tricky thing is we just have to get hold of them.
Right.
And quite a lot of them as well.
Sure.
But yeah, if we could get hold of some elderberries,
Yeah.
some loganberries, that could be pretty fun as well.
Tomato is a fruit?
Yes, that's correct. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, it would be fun to try some of these. Also, you're right that I think I read that thing about the breweries in Tachikawa as well. Tachikawa also a really big broccoli producing area.
Right.
So, broccoli sour.
Somebody's already cornered that market, though, haven't they?
The broccoli sour.
The broccoli beer guy.
Right.
Bruccoli. Tomonari.
Does he make sours?
I think he makes all of his beer with broccoli. I'm not sure how wild he's going with his styles.
He's muscling in on our broccoli territory
Yeah.
here in Tachikawa. Big Tachikawa broccoli is going to be knocking at his door at some point, I'm sure. Anyway, it's really fun to imagine these kind of things. As usual, the big problem is, like I said, just getting hold of the ingredients. But yuzu and ginger, I think, would be my choice. Or raspberry. Raspberry is also an excellent choice.
Yeah.
If you have another suggestion, if you own a raspberry farm, if you own a broccoli farm, get in touch with us. We always love hearing from people who listen to this show. Stick a comment under the episode. Send us a message. We would love to visit your broccoli farm and see how the cookie is made. Speaking of delicious beers, is there anything coming up in the fridge or on the taps this week that you think people ought to know about?
We have a couple interesting things coming in. 2 cans that I'm pretty stoked about. You know Stone Delicious IPA? It's part of their regular lineup.
It's delicious.
Pretty good. Yeah, I kind of like the naming idea there. Just call it what it is. Stone Delicious IPA is a pretty good one. So they've done a special release. It's called Double Delicious. Can you guess what it might be?
It's twice as delicious as the regular Stone IPA.
Yeah, it's also twice as drunkening. It's a double IPA.
Excellent.
So we're bringing that in. I think that should be pretty good. Delicious IPA is good, so I imagine that's going to be good as well. We're also, I'm not sure if it's the first time coming to Japan or they haven't come over much, but there's a brewery called The Brewing Project, and that's project with a K instead of a C.
Ooh.
But they're bringing over a few different mixed cases and stuff. There was one in particular that caught my eye because it's a style of beer that we have had before and we have really enjoyed from other breweries. And I was like, I want to give that a try. It's from Brewing Project again. It's called Hazelnut Chocolate Slurp. It's Slurp with 3 S's and 3 P's. Also, the last P is capital.
Wow.
I don't know what that's supposed to tell you.
They're going wild over there.
But the point is, it's a hazelnut chocolate. I'm pretty sure it's an imperial porter, I think. 8%, 7.8%, something like that.
Speaking of good combinations.
Yeah. We've had, Heretics Hazelnut Chocolate Porter before. It's an excellent beer and very popular just between you and I and also with our customers. So when I saw that, I was like, yeah, going to need a case of that. So that's coming in on Friday as well. I'm looking forward to that.
Excellent. That all sounds really good. We do actually have one other announcement event coming up next month, don't we?
That's right. On April 22nd, it's the inaugural Japan Cider Cup. This is the first ever Japan Cider Cup event, and obviously the organizers are hoping that this one will be really popular and it will go on to bigger and better things in future years. But there's an actual cider competition being held in Japan right now at various tap rooms and breweries. I know our friends at Shiokaze are doing a couple events there.
Yeah, you can go over to Shiokaze and drink some free cider.
Free cider,
and
yeah.
then judge it.
It seems, I quite like what they're doing rather than, I think they're doing 2 panels. I think they're doing like an actual judges panel of people who know about cider. But they also want to have kind of a People's Choice Award. So they're going around doing various tasting events at different places where you sit down and you get a bunch of ciders and you drink them and you rank them. And it doesn't matter if you know anything about cider or how it's made or what's in it. It's really just which one did you like? I think there's definitely room for that kind of valuation in craft beer and craft cider and things like that.
Definitely. Yeah. What is in it is probably apples, I would like to point out.
Sure, but they have adjuncts and things, right? They might have ginger or different things, different kinds of apples are going on in there. But yes, thank you for that.
Yuzu,
that was very
ginger,
helpful.
and broccoli.
Yeah. Yes, finally, at last, the cider we've all been waiting for. Anyway, that's on April 22nd. It's in Hachioji, and you might wonder why we're pumping it up. It's because we're going to be there. We'll be there with Shiokaze. They thought people might want to have something else besides cider as well. There's obviously going to be a ton of cider there. So we're going to be there providing beer along with a couple other local breweries, I think. But there's going to be food. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. It's a one-day event. It's the first time. So trial balloon kind of thing. But April 22nd, if you're not doing anything, it's going to be a really good, fun time, I think.
Saturday, the 22nd of April from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. And entry is free. It's in Hachioji. Just Google Japan Cider Cup. Looks like fun. I will be here in the tap room, unfortunately, but you will be there.
I will be there.
At the event. How very exciting. That is about all that we have time for this week. Thank you very much for listening today. Thank you very much for not silencing me throughout the short time of this episode. Stay safe, and we will see you again next time.
Thanks for listening, everybody.